All right, so we're going to be looking at spending a little bit of time looking at a particular branch of chemistry known as nuclear chemistry. So a lot of people, when they think of nuclear chemistry, they think of atomic bombs or radioactive spiders and Spider-Man. But to be honest, nuclear reactions are actually more common than you may think. Every radioisotope or radioactive element that has an isotope that can do nuclear decay can be done actually either very, very safe, so meaning that these types of reactions are not harmful at all and are happening all the time. And then, of course, there are those that are unsafe. So obviously, there's varying degrees of danger when dealing with nuclear reactions, okay? So we're going to look at different types. We'll explain what we mean when I say radioisotope or radioactive element, what we mean when we say that. Okay, so just to review some of the information from an element that are going to be important here. So first of all, of course, we know we have the element symbol, and then we have two numbers typically. So we have the atomic number, which is our number of protons in the nucleus, which also corresponds to the number of electrons. And we have our mass number, which is essentially the mass of our nucleus, which is our protons and neutrons together. So if we wanted to determine the number of neutrons, what we would do is we would take our atomic number or our number of protons, and we would subtract it from the mass number. So actually, pardon me. Let's shift this over. Should have made more room for myself. So what we would do is we would take our mass number and we would subtract the number of protons, right? So if our mass number is protons plus neutrons, if we subtract the number of protons from this number, we would get the number of neutrons. Now, why that's going to become important when we start talking about radioactive elements is that only specific isotopes of elements are actually radioactive. So just to recap what an isotope is. So you may or may not remember this from your junior grades, but we're going to review it as if you don't know what it is yet. So what an isotope means is that you have an atom of the same element, okay, so the same atomic number, right? But, I better pick a different color so we can see that. But the mass number is slightly different from one another. So what that means is the number of protons and electrons is the same because it has the same atomic number. So the number of protons is constant, but the number of neutrons is changing because the mass number is different. So for example, here I have two atoms of boron. So boron has an atomic number of 5, which means it has 5 protons. So no matter what, both borons have 5 protons. However, if we take a look at this, if you notice it has a dash number, a dash and then a number. This number is the mass number for this element. So mass number of 10, mass number of 11. So both of them have the same number of protons. So really the only thing that could be causing this difference in weight has to be the number of neutrons. So really, the one that is a little bit heavier essentially means that it has an additional neutron. So remember, if you take your atomic number and atomic mass and you subtract your atomic number, you get the number of neutrons. So 11 minus 5 is 6, 10 minus 5 is 5. So an important thing to keep in mind is in terms of chemical reactions with these atoms, isotopes are actually no different from one another. So if I were to take boron and do a chemical reaction, if I do like a single displacement reaction or a synthesis reaction, both of these isotopes would behave exactly in the same way. Okay, so chemically they are not different. However, sometimes you will have isotopes that are radioisotopes, which essentially means that they're able to do nuclear reactions. So here's another example of 2 different isotopes of sodium. So sodium has an atomic number of 11, which means it has 11 protons no matter what. right? And of course, we know that number of protons equals the number of electrons in an atom. So 11 protons, 11 electrons. Now, this sodium has a mass of 23. This sodium has a mass of 24. So 23 minus 11 means we have 12 neutrons in this atom on the left. 24 minus 11 is 13 neutrons. So the atom on the left is slightly lighter in comparison to the atom on the right. But both of these are still sodium, and they still would react in exactly the same way in a chemical reaction. They don't look any different. They don't, let's say you were looking at it in a reaction. They don't do anything that is different from one another. So actually, you wouldn't even really be able to tell the difference between the two of them unless you were trying to separate them based on their mass. Their mass is different. So what are some uses for isotopes? Well, isotopes that are radioactive, what they do is they let off radiation, okay, which is essentially where they get their name from. So radiation can come in many different forms. But essentially, that radiation that is being let off is able to be detected. So we can actually use that for some beneficial uses. So for example, if a person were to go in for a bone exam or a scan, okay, so what would happen here is the person is actually ingesting an isotope, so technetium with a mass number of 99. So remember, anytime you see the dash and a number, that's always the mass number for that particular isotope. So what happens here is the person drinks it, maybe they're given some sort of medicine, like a big container or liquid that they have to drink. What they're doing is they are essentially taking in this radioactive isotope. And what happens is this particular isotope is absorbed by the person's bones. And then when the scan is done using a specific type of technology, whether it's CT or MRI, but that technology basically will pick up the radiation that is coming off of the isotope. So you have to imagine this isotope is inside the person's bones. So when the scan is done on their body, it's picking up that isotope wherever it happens to be, which is of course inside of the person's bones. So it makes it very easy in order to see how a person's internal skeletal system is doing that maybe otherwise would be more difficult. Another benefit that they use radioisotopes for is a specific isotope of hydrogen that goes by tritium. So it's hydrogen with a mass number of 3. So what this is essentially same deal. It's an isotope that is letting off radiation. And what happens is they use it as basically a tracking device. So in particular, what they actually will use this for is countries that have active volcanoes. Sometimes the water that comes off or is run off of the surface of a volcano can have very high sulfur content. And even if the volcano is active and it's letting off water particles, those water particles or that steam that's coming from the volcano can sometimes also hold those sulfur-based particles. So what happens is if those sulfur particles get into the drinking water, it can actually, obviously at a certain level, become toxic for people to ingest. So what they do is, essentially in the volcano, they will add this isotope, which lets off radiation. So what they do is they add it at the source, and then what they would do is obviously allow time to pass. So let's say they add it to the volcano and a week goes by. What they can do is then check the water that's maybe further down the path of the volcano and measure how much of that isotope made its way down to that location. If, of course, there's high levels of the isotope, that means that there are high levels of that particular particle, or I should say the water or different type of compounds that are coming from the volcano would then make its way down into that drinking water. So it's kind of almost like a little mini tracking device. It's kind of a long story just to kind of get to the point of tracking device, but you get the point. So there are some benefits to using these isotopes. So let's recap this again. So how do we know that we're dealing with an isotope? So typically when you're looking at it, you see the name of the element, a dash, and then the mass number. Instead of the name, it can also use the symbol. So sodium-23. So this means we're dealing with an atom of sodium that has a mass of 23, right? Remember that the atomic number never changes. The atomic number for sodium is always 11. So I can have sodium with a mass of 22, or sodium with a mass of 19, or a mass of 25. The mass can change because the neutron number is changing, but the atomic number, the number of protons and electrons, is not changing in those atoms. Okay, so here's a question, and then we'll pause the video so you can try and answer this. Which of the following represents isotopes of the same element? And once you've decided on which ones, let's label these A, B, C, and D. So we have 4 different atomic notations. How many of them are the isotopes of the same element? And then which element is it representing? Pause the video and give this one a try. Okay, so for the ones that are representing the same element, you want to look for the ones that have the same atomic number. So A, C, and D all are representing the atomic number of 92. Now they have different mass numbers, but that's fine, right? The mass number is going to change because the number of neutrons are different. That's what an isotope is. Now, in terms of what element it is, what you would have had to do is look up on the periodic table what has the atomic number of 92. So you should have found that on the periodic table, the atomic number for 92 is for uranium. So the one that's 93 is not uranium. It's a different element. So this one is actually not an isotope of the other ones. Now, I've already mentioned this, but it's important to know, again, that isotopes, even though the number of neutrons are different, if you're doing a chemical reaction with different isotopes, they are exactly the same. The only difference is now we're talking about if there is a nuclear reaction, and that is different from a chemical reaction. So a radioisotope is an isotope that lets off emission or radiation. Now, sometimes we say that it does what we call an isotope decay. So a decay basically means the radiation that is being let off. So when that radiation is being let off of our isotope, we can sometimes refer to that as decay. So if you ever see that being, that term, it's discussing the radiation that's being let off. So why does it let off this decay? Why does this happen? It's because that some isotopes are unstable. Okay, so an element could have maybe 2 or 3 different isotopes, in some cases even more than that, but you may have only one of those isotopes that is unstable. So what happens is, because of its instability, it will actually decay and let off energy. Now, this energy can be harmless, so safe, or it can be harmful. As I mentioned, it could be kind of in any range of that. And this reaction, this nuclear reaction, can be very fast or actually very slow and take years to complete. So it's a very wide range of different radiation and different reactions that are going to be happening here.